everyone. Welcome back to Serving 813, a radio show and podcast featuring Tampa Bay organizations and groups every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. We're your hosts, Ava Lamison
and Kate Edwards.
And today we are super lucky and grateful to be joined with some of the faces and voices behind Gigi's Playhouse.
Now, if you don't know already, Gigi's Playhouse is a nonprofit Down Syndrome Achievement Center, all programs delivered by trained volunteers and offered at no cost to families in the local community. So with that said, welcome to the show, Greg, Amanda, and Kiana.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for being a part of Serving 813. So happy you could make some room in your day for us. We're so happy for you to be here. But let's start this podcast off by asking more of a deeper level question. What is Gigi's Playhouse all about, and what's its overall mission?
So Gigi's Playhouse Tampa is a part of a bigger nonprofit organization that started in 2002 up in Hoffman Estates in the Chicagoland area. And with we are the 38th Playhouse. We opened in August of 2018. And what Gigi's Playhouse is, the mission is to send a global message to change the way the world looks at Down syndrome, and just real heavy on like being generous, accepting, and kind. So we offer free and purposeful programming at no cost to any of our families or participants. There's no aging out at Gigi's. We're 99% volunteer run. You're looking at the entire staff, Kiana and I. She's the site manager. I'm the program and volunteer coordinator, and even our friend Amanda is a volunteer board member and outreach specialist.
That's great. Specifically in like the 813, what role does Gigi's Playhouse play?
Gigi's Playhouse. In 813, Gigi's Playhouse plays a huge role because it not only serves the individuals in this population with Down syndrome, but with all abilities. So we're accepting to anybody with any ability, even if it's just autism, apraxia, whatever you can name. And it's beneficial because a lot of services are expensive nowadays, whether it's speech therapy, or if you're getting tutoring, if you want to go to classes, it's expensive. And so like Greg mentioned, all our programs are free of charge. We have speech therapists that come in and provide services to our participants. We have occupational therapists. We have math and literacy tutoring. We provide these services as well as services like cooking classes, fitness classes to help the participants just grow, learn independence, socialize with other peers. That's another thing, is that it's a place where they can meet friends. It's a place where it's comfortable for the parents as well, where they can meet other parents and, speak to them, maybe find places that would work best for them, like what doctor's office do you guys use, stuff like that.
That's great. I feel like a lot of the organizations we meet with, we always say one of the most important things is like community, and just for people to have other people they can rely on and fall back to. And just one of the most important things for humans overall is just to have a community and feel like they have a support system with them. So that's great. That's what you offer.
Yeah, totally. I agree with Kate on that one. And you guys have 38 different playhouses?
We were the 38th location, and there's upwards of 55 or more.
Yeah, and you also do virtual playhouses too, so I feel like you're very immersed in that and can build a strong community. So can you actually talk more about what the virtual playhouses are and what they have to offer?
So the national office, based out of, like I said, up in Hoffman Estates, the Chicago area, it was born out of something called Gigi's at Home during the pandemic. And I mean, I know Kiana and we're actually originally Orlando residents, so you don't get a lot of people from Orlando or more north coming to Tampa outside of maybe our big parties. We have a big Bowl for Turkeys event on November 15th at Pin Chasers. But it just, not every city has Gigi's. There's a lot that goes into starting up a Gigi's. A lot of founding families. But we even had a Gainesville location. So at this point, Tampa is the most northern of the three locations. We have Fort Myers and then Miami.
Love it. You're very all around in Florida. So my next question is, can you talk to us more about the history behind Gigi's Playhouse and when did it start?
Even like the name.
Yeah, even the name. How did that come about?
Sure. So Gigi's is based off of a young girl named Gianna, aka the Gigi. So she's now, I want to say 23 or 24. And the whole idea was her mother, Nancy, wanted a place for her and her friends to have everything that Gigi's offers. Free, purposeful programming, just a place that was, definitely leaning heavily on the Playhouse. I know I give the volunteer tours, and when people come in, I think they're expecting maybe something clinical. Very much not so. It looks like a living room. It's designed to be your playhouse.
Yeah, I love it, and great place to make friends and stuff. Do you know when the first Gigi's Playhouse was like started?
Yes, 2002.
Oh wow, so almost like what 23 years? Sorry, I'm not a big math buff, but
Which is pretty astounding, actually, if you think about it, that a mom, was encouraged and had the dream to have the foresight to bring Gigi's, to her own area, and then to think even larger than that, to think that other areas could need it as well.
Yeah,
And
totally.
if you're thinking about from 2002 to 2025, now we're upwards of, actually I think it's like 61 something locations, and in multiple countries, that it took off like it did. And Greg had mentioned our Gigi's here in Tampa opened up in 2018, but that took multiple years of a group of families coming together and saying, hey, we want one of these in our locations. And then, starting from the ground up as far as fundraising is concerned, finding a location, getting furniture, putting in the bylaws for a board, making sure that we got everything that we needed, either donated or at the lowest cost possible, because it was all coming out of our own pockets. It was certainly a feat. And now we're celebrating, we're going into our, what is it, 7th?
We just celebrated
Our 7th year.
Oh, wow.
Our 7th year, which is a big deal.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
Tampa Gigi's Playhouse.
We do. We have big birthday parties.
Yeah, and you don't see that in a lot of nonprofits taking off so much, especially from just a mom thinking of an idea and it's sparking, which I think is really cool. And you guys already have 60 locations, which is insane. And
Yeah.
It shows just like how much like even one person just having an idea and starting something can make a change. A lot of people think they need a lot of like a big group of people to start something, but really it can just be like one person who thinks of something.
Absolutely, because that's how I got my start here, was as a volunteer literacy tutor. And I always tell people on tours, new volunteer tours, the biggest impact you can make is the one-on-one connection you have with the kids, whether it's the volunteer math or literacy. And then we have licensed speech language pathologists to do our speech, but I think that's a big thing to circle back to. I talked about Gigi being 23. There is no aging out at Gigi's, from prenatal to birth all the way till adulthood. And you were talking about how it's good that since 2002 it's grown. Well, so has like a lot of advancements in the study of trisomy 21 or Down syndrome. And that means a lot of our participants and friends are now getting included in Alzheimer's studies, and we're being able to catch certain things. Adults are by far our biggest population. I started tutoring as an 18-year-old. And in Florida, we have something called transitions. You can go to high school up till 22. But a lot of times, those lifelong learners, they're still looking for things after school, of course. Many of our adult participants have jobs.
That's great. When I was checking out your website, I saw you guys have an event coming up. It was the Blue and Gold Gala. I was wondering if you could talk about that and just like the other like events you guys put on.
So actually our Blue and Gold Gala, we are going to have that in April 11th now. So our next upcoming event will be our Bowling for Turkeys event on November 15th from 12 to 3 p.m. It's at the Midtown Pin Chasers. And so that event, along with most of our other events, are one of our fundraising events, but that event specifically was an event we created for our families. So a lot of our families were expecting to be there. It's an event where they can come, they can hang out, they can have a good time, they can play games, they can bowl with their friends, they can win raffle prizes, win games. And so this is one of our smaller fundraising events just because it's more family-based. But at the same time, all proceeds, whether it's from tickets, whether it's from sponsors, whether it's from in-kind donors, they're all there to help the Playhouse and help us continue providing free programs to our families.
And I think that's a huge thing is we rely heavily on donations and grants. We just certainly don't work for the county. It's 99% volunteer run and a lot of sweat equity and donations.
Yeah, I mean, well, you guys already, looking at your website, looking at all the events you've planned, and I know I keep repeating this, but it's actually, like, true, like, all the locations you have, it just amazes me how much Gigi's Playhouse took off and where you guys are now, and you're still growing, But that already wraps up our first segment. The show's already flying by. I am going to play a song, though. I know we usually do requests, but it's a little different this time, so I will be playing Island in the Sun by Weezer, if we love that song. Is everyone fine with that? Perfect. We'll be back after this break.
And we're back. Welcome back to Serving 813. Make sure to tune in to live365.com every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. if you want to find ways to serve your community. Now, if you're just joining us, I'm one of your hosts, Kate Edwards, and we're here with Greg, Amanda, and Kiana from Gigi's Playhouse.
So for this segment, we want to talk about more of you guys and your roles within Gigi's Playhouse. So you guys can speak in whatever order you want. But my first question is, how'd you first get involved with Gigi's Playhouse, and what drew you to this organization?
So this is Kiana. So how I first got involved is really strange. Actually, I was looking for jobs, and it was nothing about Down syndrome. It was nothing about anybody with any inabilities or manager positions. It kind of just popped up on its own in my email, and it just said, this could be a great fit for you. And from there on, that's how I started. So before this, I was a registered behavior technician for 3 years. And before that, I was a manager of a Dunkin' Donuts on the UCF campus. So it's kind of like a combination of both of those experiences, which brought me here. And as soon as I got that email, I applied. I called the Playhouse, and soon after, I went through several different interviews, and I got the job.
Wow, it was like meant to be.
Right.
Excellent. And I received those calls, and I remember saying, okay, we're going to hire her, right? Going to hire her, right? So I think I mentioned earlier, I started as a volunteer literacy tutor about a year and a half ago. Yeah, summer of 25 or 24. So when I was still living up in Orlando, I had worked for a company that has a sister location down here, and they were doing kind of a one-for-one matching on nonprofits. And I just heard about Gigi's Playhouse. Being like a lifelong sports and pro wrestling fan, I always heard a lot about folks with Down syndrome and a lot about Make-A-Wish, and it was always in the back of my mind. All roads pointed to Tampa because my significant other and I were moving down here. But it was just really neat starting because I have a cousin that has Asperger's, or he's on the spectrum, coincidentally named Aaron, the same name as my participant I got placed with. So, just right time, right place. And the stars aligned, and the program and volunteer coordinator role came up, and I was tutoring at Mondays at 6 p.m. over the summer. Everyone travels, so we were always trying to find times to fit it in. And there was just a time where I moved it to 9 a.m. on a Friday so that Aaron, who liked to tap out syllables to pronounce words, and then there was a yoga class after. So I'd gone from not really being around anybody after hours to just diving headfirst into the Playhouse, and not to be poetic, but like I didn't want to come back up. Like I just really liked it. And I remember talking to the then site manager, Savannah, who's actually on the programs team now at the national office. And I think she just felt a lot like how I felt about Kiana when I met her. It was just the right fit.
Amazing. Sorry. That's amazing for both of you. I feel like it was, like you said, right time, just right place. And I feel like everyone we interview that work with nonprofits, they just love what they do. And it's just great to see, because I've never met someone who's like, I don't know, I just got this job off Craigslist and like I have to go to it. Like everyone's passionate about what they do, and they're like, your role fulfills you. It's just great. Sorry, my notes are here and they got messed up. Okay, sorry. So looking at your role within Gigi's Playhouse, like what does a typical day look like for you guys?
I don't think there is a typical day with us. So me as the site manager and Greg as well, we both wear many different hats. So there is no typical day. I have range of responsibilities from, if a tour walks in, we have to stop what we're doing and, we give a tour, whether it's a volunteer, Greg will give it. If it's a family, I might give it. I have to, go in and do all the marketing. So I do all the social media, the YouTube, the Facebook, website edits, all of that, blog posts. I also send out messages to families. So I do like the email sends, the messages sends, answer the phone calls, as well as entering households, making contacts, reaching out to donors, reaching out and helping with different grant materials. The role just goes on and on from either, working with families, working with social media, inputting data, going through Excel sheets. It is never just a normal day. It's whatever is like the most important that needs to be done is what gets done. And then if not, then it, rolls over to the next day. And then we just keep on going.
Yeah, I feel like every time we ask this question, every single time, everyone's like, it's not a typical day. It's like whatever, just that morning pops up. Amanda, you're a board member, right?
I am.
And so what does that look like, being a board member?
So I found my way to Gigi's Playhouse when my son Mason, who is now 7, was born. We did do prenatal testing for Mason. There is prenatal testing for Down syndrome now, and it is relatively very accurate. It's about 98% accurate. So Mason snuck in under that little 2%, that when he was born, and they came to us and said about a day after he was born, hey, he was in the NICU at the time for some low blood sugar, and we had no other concerns. And then they kind of called us down there and were like, hey, we're starting to notice a few other soft markers that are leading us to believe he may have Down syndrome. And that took us by, just complete surprise, because again, we'd had some of that prenatal testing done, and it had come back negative. And so there was a lot in Mason's birth. I was a first-time mom. It was an emergency C-section, and then the very next day they're telling you your son has Down syndrome. And so I wish I could say that I was the one that found Gigi's Playhouse. It was actually my husband, Michael. He's our board president. He's obviously not here today, but he, within, a matter of, I would say, an hour or 2 hours, had just started scouring the internet for resources and support and fellowship, because he was going to dive headfirst into, okay, we have this diagnosis, these are the cards we've been dealt, we're going to have these challenges, we're going to have these celebrations, this is where I'm going to start. And the Playhouse hadn't even opened at the time. Mason was born in July, the Playhouse opened in August, and so he was their youngest participant for quite a little bit. And I wish I could say that I also dove right in right away. I think that journey to acceptance and to celebration and to understanding what is Down syndrome is different for every parent. And it took me a little bit to kind of meet some more participants and to see the future of what Mason could accomplish, and not be afraid of Down syndrome. And I think that also, it depends on how you're presented with the diagnosis at the time, right? So how doctors tell you, what it is that you can either look forward to or what might scare you. And so it took me a little bit, right, to realize that there wasn't 100% truth in how they were explaining what Mason's future was going to look like, that it was different for everybody. And so I kind of held back for a little bit, for about a year. And we went to a lot of programming, and we participated in events, and we got to know our community. And then I started very slowly dipping my toe into working with some of our adults in outreach. I realized that there was lots of people, like board members, and there were volunteers, and there were staff members that could have a lot of say in what we did in the Playhouse, but our adults didn't really have much say, and it's theirs. It's their Playhouse. We're very adamant about explaining to people that it's there for them to be used however they see fit. And so I kind of went to the board at the time and was like, I would really like to oversee, the adults having their own, almost like a junior board, so that whatever mattered to them took precedence, and so that they had a voice. And selfishly, I also wanted to be involved with them because they were so inspiring. They were and are so inspiring, and I needed that as a mom. I needed to see all that Mason could accomplish, because our adults are incredibly accomplished. They have done movies and documentaries, and they hold jobs up at the public defender's office. They live on their own. They have relationships, and I needed to see that. And so I volunteered for our adult outreach program for quite some time. And then more recently, over the last year and a half, I asked and was allowed to join our board. And so for board members, what that means is kind of overseeing like the functional capacities of like the facility, right? Making sure toilets are running, making sure the bills are paid, making sure that there's not any leaks in the roof, putting together a lot of our events, supporting our staff, fielding, I don't want to say complaints, but rather concerns. How about concerns? Fielding concerns from the public that we serve, and looking for new opportunities and finding where we can grow and where we need to, pull the brakes and slow back a little bit because, this isn't working like we thought it would, but it could work, in this capacity. And finding money, it's always, always, always in nonprofit work, if you're good at it, about finding money. So, yeah, my days are certainly not as filled as theirs. But, I mean, in the back of my mind, and at any event and anywhere I go to, it's how could this funnel its way back into assisting and helping Gigi's. Yeah.
It's great to hear like a personal story of like the people who this organization is meant to help and like how it's been helping you.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see how the community comes together and makes Gigi's happen and all the donations that you receive. And I like how it's like never a typical day. I think that's the beauty of it, definitely. My next question is, what part of Gigi's Playhouse brings you the most joy?
I will say the part that brings me the most joy is watching our participants progress. And so whether that's in, one-on-one programming with speech, or if it's, in yoga classes, they're able to do a different move that they weren't able to do, just seeing how far they've came. And so there's this thing that we celebrate is the best of all. And really it's just the best of all is kind of an individual moment, and it's reaching your own best of all. So we always strive every day at Gigi's for our participants to reach their best of all moment. And so what it looks like for one person may not look the same for the other. So one person, maybe their best of all moment is maybe using their words to say hi or that they want something. And so after that, we then celebrate it. And so we usually have a best of all every month, or participant best of all that we celebrate every month, and same with like a volunteer spotlight that we celebrate. But just seeing those little progressions or those big progressions is kind of like my favorite part about this job.
Yeah, totally. And must be very memorable seeing that. And maybe even as a volunteer, if you guys listening, because I know this is the whole point of Serving 813, how you can volunteer with different organizations. But yeah, I feel like you can very much connect. I don't know where that thought went.
For me, my what brings me the most joy, or that was the question, right? It's like what about Gigi's brings us? For me, obviously, it's always the participants, but surprisingly, it's also when you can tell that it just clicks with a volunteer, right? So I'll be honest, like there are absolutely times where people will come in and they just need hours, whether for a scholarship or for a community service or whatever it might be, or, it might be like a teenager whose parent might push them into like, oh, go give back in some way. And you can tell almost immediately on their face when it hits them that like, oh, I want to be here. This place makes me happy. This joy it's palpable, and we want more of that. And we tend to have a lot of volunteers that just stay, because I think that you walk through the doors and there's a feeling in the Playhouse of happiness and joy and celebration, even of the littlest things. And that's addicting. I mean, just to be around that kind of happiness. And so for me, it's when the volunteers and when the community realize how special it is there. Because it was like, oh, yeah, we told you. Like, we told you.
On our most recent volunteer spotlight, I actually even coined the phrase a Swiss Army of utility, because one of our volunteers has jumped into everything, assisting in various programs, as well as just I've known her for a year, and I've just never seen this side of her with a little one being a math tutor. So it immediately stood out. This is why Kiana and I make a great team. She absolutely stole my answer earlier, because that's exactly it. Is like the best of all. It's not about celebrating benchmarks. It's not about celebrating, certain milestone. It's doing a little bit better than you did each day. I personally think it's really fun. Like I kind of helped out in Gigi Fit Adult a lot on Saturdays over the spring, and sometimes I'll just dip in there anyway if I'm just collecting data for grants or I'm just observing something. It's our biggest population, so the more assistance needed. Mm-hmm. And it's just this fun stuff like, okay, this young man really doesn't want to stretch, but I know he likes a double high five, so let's, stretch. Okay, she's not going to squat, but we're absolutely going to shoot basketball, and she's going to do the granny shot, and so let's NBA jam this, and let's just wind up. Oh, we're squatting for 3 seconds, then we're shooting. It's just things like that. It's fun for me. I mean, it fills my cup. There's never a boring day.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Kind of piggybacking off of, like, what brings you the most joy, do you guys have, like, a moment that was, like, the most memorable to you with this organization? It's kind of a big question.
Yes, but to narrow it down, I mean,
One of the events that we do,
Yeah.
we talk a lot about events, and I'll take the easiest answer, which is one of the events that we do. It's called our Be Beautiful, so beautiful but be beautiful fashion show. Pardon me. It's annual, and so it's when all of our participants of all ages get to walk quite a significant runway, right, to music of their choice, to facts about them, to things that they love, to an outfit that they chose, and it's a really big deal, and the whole community kind of comes together. And I every year I'll be it's a challenge sometimes to get all the pieces in the right place, right? And so when you're putting events like that together, when you're in the thick of it, sometimes it's like, oh man, like I can't wait till this is over. Like when this is over. But then you're in the middle of it and you're like, nope, let's do it again tomorrow. Like how quickly can I get, because everyone is so happy. The community is so supportive. It is so joy filled. People are dancing and hugging and laughing, and you just leave at the end of the day and your cheeks are sore because you're so happy. And so that's an easy answer because that comes around once a year, and it's something to look forward to, kind of like a holiday. Like you look forward to the holidays, you look forward to these major events. But it's definitely that, because they look forward to it also. Our participants look forward to it. At the end of the day, it's about what opportunities we can put in front of them, and that's a really fun day.
Yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds like it does. I like that answer because it's also, I don't know. I feel like that's like a really like creative event. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. It's not really anything like that I've heard with other organizations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also love how, you mentioned yoga classes. I didn't know Gigi's Playhouse did all of the above. I feel like you can literally be like, I want to do this, and you can, which is, I like that. But
and that's a particularly cool one because one of the program leads is actually a 35-year-old participant with Down syndrome who is, I believe, has her 200 hours in yoga.
Yeah, and I also have another question. Are your clients, like, all ages and volunteers? Like, who comes to Gigi's Playhouse?
I mean, it is open. Are you talking particularly volunteers?
Yeah, and yeah.
I mean, it is a heavily slanted to USF and UT students that volunteer. You could probably guess some of the majors and whether occupational physical therapy, SLP, things like that. But I mean, it comes from all walks of life. We have people that are subject matter experts in ASL and speech language. We have former restaurant and cooks. We have people that have been involved in dance, gymnastics.
We have retirees. We have people that have said, like, I'm tired of spending my days at home. I know I have more to give. And this is how. And you brought up our yoga class and saying you didn't even know that we did that. One of the things that I hear most frequently from people that are like, oh, I really want to get involved. I want to come and help the Playhouse, but I don't really do yoga, or I'm not really a good cook, or I don't know where I would fit in. You bring to us what is your best of all, and we will find a place for you. Yes. So it's like we have people that are like, oh, I do really well at karate, or I really like Legos, or I like art. And so it's like we'll find a place that we can utilize your skills so that they can feel fulfilled, and then our participants can benefit from that. So
yeah, I love it. Me and Kate are also big fashion fans, so maybe we'll attend a fashion show. But that already hits our middle point of the show, so I guess we're gonna go into another song break. I'm thinking we play Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi.
Yeah,
love it. Okay, we'll be back after this song. And we're back. Welcome back to Serving 813. Make sure to tune into live365.com every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. if you want to find ways to serve your community. Now, if you're just joining us, I'm one of your hosts, Ava Lamison, and we're here with Greg, Amanda, and Kiana from Gigi's Playhouse. So I put up an Instagram story the other day asking you guys listening to send in questions regarding Gigi's Playhouse. And just like always, we got a lot of responses. So I'm not going to keep talking.
That makes me happy.
And let's get into it.
Hopefully those responses never stop. Okay, the first DM asks, where do you hope to see this initiative in 5 years' time? And do you have any long-term goals for Gigi's Playhouse?
I will absolutely speak up as the program coordinator, and with our adults being the biggest population, if I get one thing done in 2026, it's going to be grow career development programs, and that is going to rely a lot on exactly the passionate volunteers and dedicated volunteers Amanda and Kiana were talking about.
Yeah, we were just talking about how volunteers is what really makes Gigi's Playhouse, and so that's a really good initiative to be focusing on.
And when Greg says career development, of course, he means for our adult participants. So many of them after high school, are not only willing but able and capable of working, and those opportunities are not really, openly or freely or frequently given to them. And so it's about making sure that they have the skill set to be able to go in confidently to interviews or, to places of employment and to say, I can do this, and I would be an asset here. And so that's, to give a little bit more to what Greg's speaking about is career development, so that their days can be meaningful and they can contribute back into our community as well.
Yeah, and I feel like also with like the career development, like that just helps to like just set them up for success like later in life. And it's like the I just blanked if you teach a man how to fish, that thing, like
Absolutely.
yeah. And so I feel like that's a great like long-term 5 years.
Yes, and I can definitely see it happening. But our next DM asks, if you could describe Gigi's Playhouse in one word, what would it be? Kind of a tricky one.
I would say accepting.
Love
We
it.
accept everyone. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, it's not just individuals with Down syndromes. We accept individuals who may have autism or apraxia or any other ability, and we serve them. We don't turn anyone down. We also serve our participants' families as well. So we encourage their siblings to participate in our programs as well. So we are very accepting at Gigi's.
Yeah, that's a great word. That's how I would think of it too. I just couldn't put my finger on it, so I was like, how are they going to answer this?
I'll go with a phrase or term, second home.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also very good.
Okay. Those are two great words to describe an organization. Our third DM is, what are the different ways I can volunteer with Gigi's Playhouse? It sounds like you guys have a lot of ways that you can volunteer.
How much longer do we have on this segment?
I was literally going to say that.
Whether it be group programs, one-on-one math and literacy tutoring, joining committees, I had mentioned the supplemental elements. Just because you aren't leading or assisting a program, maybe you have some graphic design or marketing experience. You can certainly capture our programs in action. That we have a few participants that have volunteered at UCF to table for us next week. Any outside the box thinking, anything to further the mission. There's all kinds of things. I won't even preclude joining the board.
Yeah, I'm curious. What is like the main volunteer thing like people do? Like, what's your main?
I
if
would
you have
say
one?
group programs, because it necessitates, depending on the age, like a ratio more and more volunteers for the younger ones. But yet the adults are the most popular or most populous programs. So I would say group program leads and tutoring, one-on-one tutoring, which we run with a spring, summer, and fall kind of semester, whereas the group programs are by design to keep running. We put them on the calendar a few months out every time.
And I feel like as this show progressed, I feel like you kind of forget if you're a volunteer, you're volunteering because you're having so much fun. And also, whatever you like to do, you can volunteer and help Gigi's Playhouse. There's whatever your niche is. But the next DM says, what makes Gigi's Playhouse different from other nonprofits?
I can answer that. So one of the things that we didn't touch on earlier in our first segment was, you guys had asked, tell us a little bit more about the Playhouse. And one of the things that sometimes we tend to leave out is that Gigi's Playhouse is the only brick and mortar location here in Tampa Bay that offers what we offer. So there's lots of other organizations, and I had mentioned them, the Friends Down Syndrome Special Needs, there's the Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay, but they don't have brick and mortar locations. So they sometimes have to set up out, within the community, or they'll throw events at places that they have rented. Gigi's Playhouse is different because it is made specifically for our participants, down to literally like the safety protocols that we have in place. So we can have some people at the Playhouse that might be elopers or might be unsafe, and we have doors and locks and safety padding on corners of bookshelves, and I mean it's everything that we could have thought of was put in place. Even outside of our tutoring and our speech therapy rooms, you'll see headphones so that parents can sit outside, so their loved one with Down syndrome, whatever their age, can have the dignity of having that session one-on-one on their own without mom and dad sitting in there with them, but mom and dad can sit outside and listen in to see what progress is being made, right? And so I think it's different in that way, that we try to think of, and not just on our own, right? You have to remember we have a network of over 60-something other playhouses that we can lean on as far as, hey, what's working for you? Or what challenged you? Or how did you overcome this? And so I think that makes us very unique also, is that we have a lot of resources that we can lean into all the time.
Yeah. With Serving 813, our goal is to get kids like our age involved in these different organizations. And so our final question is usually like, what are the ways we can get involved? And I know we've covered a lot of the volunteer opportunities you have. But we also asked, like, what's the best way to reach out and get involved in the organization?
Yeah, simply put, it would be going to gigisplayhouse.org/Tampa/volunteer. And then you'll be talking to me, and then most likely Kiana as well. And we'll go from there.
Love it. And do you guys have an Instagram page?
Mm-hmm.
We do. We have an Instagram page. We have a Facebook page. We're going to start working on like a TikTok. 'Cause I
YouTube.
think
Yeah.
the kids like the TikTok these days, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
very
and there's
big.
also like, if there's, I always want to encourage people too. That's part of the benefit of having a brick and mortar location. Show up. Just show up.
Yeah.
Doors open.
And it's also a
everyone's
big
welcome.
thing with high schoolers. Like, you need service hours to get scholarships or whatever. But like here, like I said, it's like you forget you're volunteering. You're having so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you also said it's addicting. I mean, you're going to keep coming back after you reach that 100-hour benchmark.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm talking very fast, but we're running out of time on this show. So I think it is, well, it's the end of our Q&A portion. And Greg, Amanda, and Kiana's time on the show.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being a part of
Thank you,
Serving
guys.
813. We had so much fun with y'all being here.
Yeah, this was a really cool organization to hear about, and I hope that the people who are listening will go check your Instagram and Facebook out and get involved, because this was really fun talking to you guys. And so I know if I was volunteering with y'all, I'd have fun too.
Thank you guys very much for the spotlight. We're willing and able always to speak on Gigi's, and honored to do so for our participants. And happy World Down Syndrome Awareness Month, everybody.
Yes, it's October, y'all. Well, I tried to save the best for last for this song, so I hope this isn't controversial, but I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. Do we like that song?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Play it.
Love it. Okay, thank you so much for being on the show, guys, and don't go anywhere, because me and Kate will be here after this song.
And we're back. Welcome back to Serving 813. Make sure to tune into live365.com every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. if you want to find ways to serve your community. I'm one of your hosts, Kate Edwards, and we were just here with Greg and Amanda and Kiana, missing them already, from Gigi's Playhouse. But now it's just me and Ava. And I think this would be a great time to reflect and talk about our favorite parts of today's show.
Yes, I agree. I feel like the show went by so quick today, but it was very fun. I loved meeting Kiana, Greg, and Amanda. They're such amazing people. And I didn't know that much about Gigi's Playhouse, but over the course of this show, I feel like I didn't know how much they do. And it was funny when he was listing all the volunteer opportunities you can go. I noticed he talked very quick. Yeah. Like, you can tutor, you can go to yoga class.
A lot to offer.
Yeah.
I feel like with all the organizations we interview, they're always like an iceberg where it's like, there's like, you see the tip of the iceberg and it's like, there's like, we know of a few things they do. And then the more we talk with them, it's like you see the underneath and you realize there's like so much more that they do that you never even realized, and it's like, wow, they're just busy bees. Like they're just
that
doing
was a good
everything.
metaphor. I like
Thank
that.
you.
I literally like pictured the like TikTok image where it's like, people don't know this musical. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you mean.
But yeah, I mean, the show's gonna end in 5 minutes, so I think we have to end this show short.
But we just wanted to say that this is a really cool organization to talk to, and Greg, Amanda, and Kiana were really cool people, and it was just obvious to see how passionate they were about what they do, which is great because I think when working with a nonprofit, you have to have the passion. And when we were in between our breaks, like Amanda was just talking to us about how like it's the volunteers that are like the heart of Gigi's Playhouse and like the reason like it does so well, and like that's why like they're so dependent on volunteers. You know, they don't have a higher up who's like funding them or anything or running the organization. And so it was just great to see how passionate they are. And like, if you're listening to this, I really highly recommend you go and volunteer with Gigi's Playhouse.
I know me and Kate will be volunteering soon.
Catch us there soon.
Yes. And yeah, make sure if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram at Serving813 to get updated on all episodes. If you're a nonprofit organization or group that wants to be on the show, you can DM us. And if you want to stream past episodes and this episode, you can stream hopefully in a week or a couple days.
Yes.
But yes, we're serving your city one convo at a time. This is Ava Lamison signing off.
This is Kate Edwards signing off.
We'll see y'all next week.
Bye. Love ya.